Good morning, welcome back to Dream Interpretation. So today topic is playing billiards. So I had a very good friend and dear friend of mine that is still going through a very difficult divorce. He had given everything to his wife. I think she got to keep the cars and the house and everything, but she wanted more. Who knows what. So anyway, so in that dream, what he dreamt, and that was in his waking life, but what he dreamt was that he was in his parents' house, and they have a game room, and in the game room, and this is real life, in his parents' house they have a game room, and in the room they have a pool table, and so they play billiards and they play pool. And so he said that the dream consisted of her being in his parents' house and him playing billiards and pool with her, and so she apparently was sort of winning, and she had gotten the balls for the 8 ball and the balls, and I think she had like 3 balls or 2 balls, and she was like showing it to him and going like this, right, like she was like like playing with the balls. So he said, Lucia, the weirdest thing is that she never went to my parents' house, and she would, she never visited, she never went. So it was really weird, and it was weird that it was my parents' house. And he said, and that was it. That was the dream, right? So the dream consisted of them being in his parents' house, them playing pool. It looked like, I don't know if she was winning or not, but her grabbing the balls and her playing with the balls and sort of going like this with the balls. So basically, this is it. So when you dream a house, specifically your parents' house or a house where you grew up or a house where you feel home at, or not necessarily, that sort of is a reflection and symbolic of your soul. So he is at the core of his soul and his character, and that's what this dream is fully about. He's also with his parents at his parents' house. There was conflict. The parents didn't like her, and she didn't like the parents, and that's in his real life. So he just felt that it was, very weird that they were at the parents' house. The reason that they were at the parents' house in the dream is because that represents his safety, that represents his domain, that represents his territory. That is his territory where they are with his family, with his parents. It represents him. It's his surname. It's what he is about. It's about his family, and he's a rancher and a cattleman. So they're very much about family and unity of family. So it was at their core of their family and their house, and that's where she was in, and it represented that she was in them. She had infiltrated to the very core of his substance, of who he was, of his being, of what his representation was, which was his house and his parents' home and his family, his united family where he grew up with. So they're playing pool, right, and they're playing billiards, and she never played pool, and she never played billiards, and she never went into that room. But the billiards and the pool, and I don't know if that's the way you call it, but the playing pool, right, is about life, and it's about the play that they're having, and it's about the game that they're having. And so they are at a game, and they are playing for life, right? And that's what that signified in terms of the game. And the game was the divorce, right? And she was winning at the divorce because not only had he already agreed to everything that she wanted more. Okay, so she wanted the essence of his being, of what he represented, about his family, about everything that represented his family, and whatever was left of the representation, which whatever she was going after in terms of money or agreement with the divorce had to be with his foundation of who he was. She was now attacking specifically, the household, the name, the surname, the his family in essence. And so when she was getting the balls and going like this, she was basically like dueling him, like when you are challenging someone to a fight, to a duel, and she was there showing them and saying here, and really what those balls represented was his testicles. They represented his balls, and what mattered, and what really was the significance of all that was that she had his balls in her hand. His balls were in her hand, and she was able to do anything that she wanted to him with them, and she was being victorious with them because she had an upper hand, and she was winning the game because she had his balls in her hand. And not only that, that she was like blatantly showing them to him in his face. This is what I have, and this is, and I have you from your balls. And so that really was, it was enormous. It was an amazing representation and symbolism of where he was in his position of his divorce, but also how he was feeling, even though he really didn't know that that's how he was, and the position that she had in terms of where they were at in their divorce. So basically the meaning was that he needed to go get his balls back, and he needed to fight for whatever it is that he felt was appropriate. At this point, he had already given her everything that she wanted. She was not to get everything else that was left, because what was left was his true essence, his true being, and his true significance of his surname and whatever was left. And that was all that was left. And she couldn't get that because that did not pertain to her, because that had to do with him, only him and his family. And so so my recommendation to him was very bluntly, and even though it was very coarse, I said, go get your balls back. That's exactly what that dream signifies, and don't let her get anything more. She's already gotten what she got. You were always more than generous. Now it's time to fight and take a stand for you, yourself, and whatever is left of it. That's it. She's had it. So it was a very, very interesting dream. It was very significant. It was a beautiful dream, and he was shocked when he, when I told him. And of course, after that, he pursued, the legalities of their divorce in a very different manner, because at that point, he really came into his truth and came into his wisdom and came into, really standing up and not feeling like he needed to give her something, and stop feeling guilty about the divorce, and truly fighting for his stand, because she was not respecting his house, his family, or him, because at the moment that she was flaunting his balls in front of him and showed it to him in his face, that means that she had no respect for him. So it was time for him to stop with the guilt, stop feeling like he owed her something, and truly regain his self-worth and his respect, and stand truly for what was left. And it didn't matter, and it wasn't that he was a bad person. It was just really really protecting what was left of that very shattered foundation, and that that relationship that tore him to his core, and that was in essence at the end of it. So I hope this dream was entertaining to you all, and I hope in the end that I truly helped this friend of mine that I so much dearly care for, and I know for a fact that I think he's doing fairly well. I don't know if he's over with the divorce, but he's on his way. So many blessings. If you need an interpretation, my link is below. So many blessings to you, and may you when you sleep, be guided, but most importantly, sleep and rest so that you can take on the next day full of challenges. Many blessings. Ciao.